John Birch Society. When you say that, those words bring images to people's mind that aren't necessarily accurate. And my friend Robert Brown, who is the regional field director of the John Birch Society, is on set with us, and we're glad you're here.
Well, thank you.
One of the things I'd like to do is dispel some of the myth that surrounds, or some of the myths that surround the John Birch Society. And I'm going to just go through a punch list. As regional director for Montana, Wyoming, North and South Dakota, you probably hear some of this. You're an extremist organization.
You know, in today's political environment, any organization that stands strongly behind the Constitution is portrayed by the media as somewhat extremist. Of course, that is in comparison to the leftist views that are being pursued in our country today.
Sounds a little bit like allegations made against the Tea Party.
Yes.
How about the charge that you're anti-Semitic and racist?
Kind of goes back to what you just said. It sounds a lot like the same allegations that are leveled against the Tea Party. The idea that we're racist or anti-Semitic or whatever else, really it's been hard to find any evidence of that.
Well, we find evidence to the contrary on your National Council. It's a very diverse group of people.
That's correct. We certainly have quite a wide representation of people of all ethnic backgrounds as well as all religious backgrounds in prominent positions with the John Birch Society.
Yes, and all those religious backgrounds includes those of the Jewish faith, just to be clear. What about the third thing on my list, that you are a bunch of conspiracy theorists?
Well, certainly there are elements of conspiracy in the world. No one's foolish enough to say that no conspiracy ever exists. The question I always ask is are we talking about a conspiracy fact or conspiracy theory? And I strongly recommend that people stay away from conspiracy theory because it discredits you. You lose credibility if you're speculative in what you're putting forward. What we do talk about is there clearly is an agenda that some are pursuing to try to move our nation more towards a socialist type of nation.
No.
I know, big shock, big shock. And all the time I hear people saying, you know, when I first heard the John Birch Society talking about those things decades ago, I thought, there's no way. But today, it's so abundantly clear, I realize you guys have been right all along.
Yes, and you know, back in the late 50s, the media began to smear the John Birch Society. And back then, that wasn't quite as common. Today, it's just every day, if you're a conservative or a conservative organization, you're on the dinner plate with the media.
That is correct.
So, but you, as an organization, experienced that decades ago.
Yes, and you know what's interesting is the result of that, yes, it did cause some people to be put off from the John Birch Society, but we also found the more the media attacked us, the more we would grow. It would cause people to be concerned, they'd look into us, they'd find out what we're really about, and so we'd start to grow because of it. And so because of that, the last few decades, there's really been more of a media blackout as a new strategy.
We're getting close on time, but I'll say that in California there was an investigation done, and we'll provide some information about that to our viewers. That really was an endorsement, you might say.
Yes.
Today, your motto describes what your objectives are, who you are, and what you're doing.
Right.
3 things.
The motto says, less government, more responsibility, and with God's help, a better world.
That sounds a lot like the Tea Party.
Actually, it's very in common.
Maybe we should get together and have some JBCT. More responsibility.
Right.
I think what I would draw from that, you're talking about more personal responsibility, which includes more freedom.
Absolutely. That's one aspect of it. But we also believe that our elected officials should be held responsible as well for how they're voting and things like that. And all of it goes back to the first one of less government, that we're a strong advocate of returning to the original intent of the Constitution. The Constitution outlined for our government specific powers, and they really shouldn't be doing anything that wasn't on the list.
That's right. And who could disagree with your last phrase in the motto, with God's help, a better world? And I think we'd agree, without God's help, there won't be a better America or a better world. So absolutely, I would say a hearty amen to that. Look at the website. It's jbs.org and do your own investigation. who these folks are, what they believe in, and I hear either the race has started or the race is over. I hear the bell. It's been great having you with us.
Well, thank you.
Thanks for
having
being
me.
on the show.